Hello and welcome to another Shared Screens review. Today we're talking all things AC Mirage. That's Assassin's Creed for those who don't know. Joining me to talk all things Assassin's Creed Mirage, we have Alec Bobko. How you doing, Alec?
Doing great tonight. How about you?
I'm here. I'm living it up. It's raining outside, but this game has brightened my horizons. Let me tell you. This game is something, and I don't know if you saw the notes, but I have a lot. So we can get into it. But before we get into it, Alec, you I want to get your thoughts on the game itself. But before we get there, I want to just
Mhm,
your experience with the franchise. Just like how many AC games have you played? Are you a fan? Do you consider yourself a fan? That kind of stuff.
mhm. Yeah, so I do consider myself a fan. I played them, I would imagine, a bit late because I didn't get to them till I was in college, so about 2012, 2013 kind of time frame.
Sure.
Um, where I found like a bundle. I think I had AC 1 and 2 for PC. I bought it. I think it was like just like a clearance deal at Walmart or something like
Sure.
that.
Might as well.
Jumped into it and
You took a leap of
uh,
faith.
exactly. I because it's one of those things I heard good things about that franchise,
Mhm.
but wasn't like insanely into games like I am now.
Right.
At the time, um, and I liked one. It's one of those things like it was a cool thing, but then man, that jump from two, it's like that comparison that I make in many of our videos of just that jump from one or Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah.
It's like it's just that comparison that everybody in the gaming sphere like understands.
For good reason. Yeah. Yeah, like they
Exactly.
knocked it out of the park. AC2 is in my top 5 of all time. So,
Mhm.
I'm a big believer in 2 and, like, the franchise. I mean, the old school franchise. But yeah, go on.
Mhm. And then from then I kinda hopped around a few games, like, I remember playing Brotherhood. I remember I dabbled with 3 a bit, but the beginning of that game was a bit weird,
It's
and it
it's
took
a
a bit long to get
it's
to
a
where I
slog.
wanted it.
Yeah, it's a
So I think
slog.
I jumped off of that game. I actually don't think I actually ever finished it.
I don't
And
blame
then,
you. I don't blame you.
took a bit of a hiatus for the longest time. Like, I kept up with it, but I never really played the games. Like, I didn't really play Black Flag till way later,
Mm.
skipped Unity, Syndicate. And then I didn't really jump back into the franchise until Assassin's Creed Odyssey because a lot of the things that reasons that or I get into Assassin's Creed is like the location and the time setting.
Yeah.
So like I'm huge into like the ancient Greek, ancient Roman like kind of time period. So like
Sure.
that's why 2 is like one of my favorites, and same with Odyssey because being in arc or into architecture, those are two like the biggest like
Yeah.
you know uh time pieces
Sure.
there. So like those are it's really cool just to how they had eventually with Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla
Mhm.
did that discovery mode where you can just go around and look at everything.
Yep. Really neat. I
Um
totally agree. Yeah, 2 was the first one where, like, again, I'm a kid at the time, so don't this is a cliche
mhm,
now, but, like, the setting can be a character, and it helped me
yeah.
appreciate that. 2 is
Yep.
what helped me, like, realize and appreciate video games for the art that they are, rather than just, like, me
Mhm.
enjoying the medium. Anyway,
But
that's
yeah, I
awesome.
sunk a ton of time into Odyssey. Like, because my parents they were gone. I don't think they're out of the country at the time. So like I literally had the house to myself. So I was just binging Odyssey for hours whenever I got home from work. Um and just fell in love with that game. And
Mm,
so hearing that this one was kind of going back to the old school Assassin's Creed games, I was interested with it because
mhm.
I wasn't one of those people that necessarily hated the RPG aspect of the modern ones, but I did not like how big the map was getting
Yep.
because that's one reason I didn't get into Valhalla is because I heard how much
Yep.
bigger it was than Odyssey. I'm like, Odyssey was already huge.
Yep. Yeah, I put, like, 10 hours into Valhalla, and I was like, "I don't even feel like I've started the game." Like, I'm
Mhm.
just here, I'm
Yeah.
just living. Um, but yeah, Mirage, comes this game's made for me. That's what I wanna
Mhm.
say. Because like, my history with the franchise, like, if you recall, at the beginning of the year, we did, like, a top 3, like, most anticipated or just something
Something
like
like that.
that.
Yeah.
Mirage was my number 3 because, like, I
Mhm.
saw what they were going for, like the old roots and kinda going back to the old formula, and man, this formula is just made for me. We'll get into that when we get into the notes, but my history with the franchise, like I said before, 2 was in my top 5. I think I played 1 came out what, 2007, you said? That sounds right, but anyway.
I don't know when they actually came out. Like I said, I played them late in like 2012, 2013, so I
I
I have no idea when they
also
actually came out.
I also played them late. Because I got into the franchise when 2, and I think Brotherhood was, like, almost about to come out is when I bought 1. And then I was like, "Well, the people won't show up about 2, so I'm gonna play 1." Really liked 1. I think 1 has some of the best characters overall.
Mhm.
Not like the pinnacle, but, like, a solid
Right.
trio of, like, Altair and Al Mualim, I think his name is. The main guy who turns into the villain at the end. Anyway.
Right, yeah. It's like
Um
I've only played 1 and 2 like a
Uh-huh.
couple of times, so it's like I'm real vague on
Uh-huh,
those
uh-huh. The guy
characters.
the guy in the black robe who, like,
Yep.
trains you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, and I think those are, like, pretty high. I do think
Mhm.
that, like, the franchise as a whole kinda sucks with characters because they had Ezio, and Ezio was just so
Yeah.
fucking good, and ever since you
Yep.
can't there's nothing you can do to top
I
that, there's
mean,
nothing you
there's
can
a
do to
reason
weaken
they did
that.
3 games with them.
Exactly, yeah, Ezio might be my favorite character in video games of all time. I haven't, like, gone through and looked at that to
Mhm.
see if that's genuinely true, but he's definitely, like, top 3, like, he's up there. So I got into the series late, played 1, absolutely loved 2. 2 is when I discovered this formula where, like, Ubisoft is gonna have credit for creating this formula that people copied. Um, but, like, the
Mhm.
whole, what do they call it? Like, not a waypoint, but you go to the top of the tower, you look at it, the viewpoint, and then
Yeah,
you use that
synchronization point or
synchronization
whatever.
points, and then you use that to, like, take over
Or
places that.
just to like, unlock play pieces of the map.
And then you go and take over a compound, and that kind of formula, and there's, like, things
Yep.
on the map, but not, like, an overbearing amount of things on the map. There's just stuff that, like, 90% of this you don't have to ever touch, but it's there if you wanna
Yeah.
do it. But it's in this, like, truncated kind of form that is an RPG. Oh my god, there's so many systems, there's so many, like,
Mhm.
it's in a way that is so digestible, you just understand what you're getting into and what you're looking at. This formula was made for me. So 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations. I played Revelations in one night because Revelations was like 8 to 9 hours. I stayed home from school and everything. That's my one story where, like, 'cause I wasn't. I played hooky a lot. I didn't play hooky a lot to just play video games, which is really weird
Mhm.
because we've gone into, like, my history with games. Like, at first, I wasn't really a gamer. I was, like, playing Madden and, like,
Mhm.
Need for Speed and that kind of stuff, but I wasn't, like, gaming a lot. So, like, that was never the reason I was playing hooky. Revelations was the kind of the outlier for that because I found out that that's, like, the end of Desmond's story, which I don't even know if that's true. Going
Because I
back,
think
but
that's
anyway,
3, I believe.
regardless, I remember
Right, yeah.
thinking that because it would. There's a major turning point in Revelations that I played all the way through. It was like
Mhm.
the end of Ezio's story, essentially. Um,
Yes. Yep.
and so I had to know. I had to know, man. Played that all in
Mhm.
one night. Played
Yep.
3. I like 3 a lot more than most people. But yes, that the first half of that game honestly kind of sucks. But I think the back half is really, really, really good, and people
Mhm.
need to, like, play there's, like, a remastered
Yeah,
version that's,
so
like, that's really
I
good.
I actually that's part of the reason I bought, I think it was the deluxe edition or one of the bigger editions, of Odyssey because it came with if you pre-ordered that, it came with the remaster of Assassin's Creed 3. So I'm like, "Oh, cool, I can finally get back to this."
Yeah,
Still have not
and
to this day.
I was gonna say, did you? Because it's genuinely, like, and I can say in 2023, it's probably not worth your time, but, like, man, the back half of that game, like, for the time, was totally slept on. It's
Mhm.
very, 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 very good. So then after 3, I believe, is Unity, and I played through Unity at
Black Flag.
launch. Oh, sorry. Yep. Oh, how can I forget about Black Flag? Yes, Black Flag.
Yeah.
I am high on Black Flag. I am not as high on Black Flag as most people.
Mhm.
Um, I really, really, really like that game. It just doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game to me. Does that make sense? Because
Mhm.
it kind of, like, plays with the formula a lot, and, like, as I was
Yeah,
just
'cause
saying,
that's
I
the first
really
one
like the
without,
formula.
Desmond.
Yeah, they followed Edward Kenway, I think his name was the pirate. And
Mhm.
then Desmond's gone, long gone. Well, not long gone, but he's gone at this point. So now they're going into, like, you are the person on the
Faceless
outside.
Abstergo dude.
Yeah, and you're like, I think it was 4 where they announced or they said something about, like, we're looking at people's memories to make movies or some shit, and you're like, what the fuck?
Mm.
That's the dumbest reason I've ever heard. Anyway, Black Flag is really, really cool. I will never take that
Mhm.
away from Black Flag. The whole ship combat and the shanties, that started the shanty
Oh,
thing for
yeah.
me.
Yep.
Was that game?
Yep.
That game is really, really good. It's just not the pinnacle of the franchise for me. I totally understand why people have that on a high pedestal. I totally get
Mhm.
that. Just not me personally. Unity, I played that game at launch. Fucking sucked. It was a buggy mess. I think the tail end of that game, it gets to where it should have been. I don't want to say it's great. Don't want to say
Mhm.
it's bad. It gets to, like, right where it should have been for, like, I think that was, like the launch title. Like, they launched on the new
Yeah.
platform or whatever.
I think PS4, PS
That sounds right. I think it
Yeah,
was
because that was
before.
the one where it had like the skin was off their face and they had like the floating eyes and
Just the
mouth.
floating eyeballs, yeah, and there was so much more than that. Like the parkour was just
Yep.
fucked. Um,
But I'll say
but
shout out to Unity though, because when the uh Notre Dame Cathedral burned down, they basically were giving that away so people could go in and like relook at it. And because it was like,
oh yeah,
from what I remember, I think they're saying like it's like the most accurate
yeah,
3D model of that
yep.
building.
Yeah, they talked to like genuine professionals about like when that burned down to like, hey, we have this thing, like we can totally help you out, and then they did,
Hmm.
and yeah, that like
Yeah.
that's really really cool. Video games are cool, man.
Hmm.
And then after Unity was
Syndicate.
Syndicate. Oh, Syndicate has slept on too. I never finished Syndicate because this is when the fatigue really fucking hit me.
Yeah.
It
I mean, that's
really
when
hit me
they took the
hard.
break and then you get Origins,
Yep.
Odyssey, Valhalla.
And then so Syndicate's really really good. I think it's good even today by today's standards. Syndicate,
Mhm.
like in terms of the gameplay and how it feels, is like I think the most, not like Mirage, but you like the most modern feeling like Mirage, if that makes sense. Where like
Gotcha.
it doesn't
Yep.
feel dated. Um,
Mhm.
in the grand scope of things, doesn't feel dated.
Yep.
Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla were not made for me. I played through all of Origins. Really like Bayek. I think Bayek's a really
Mhm.
interesting character. I really like him a lot, and I liked Origins. It's just like it's like a good 7 for me. Same thing with
Mhm.
Odyssey. Odyssey's too big for in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then Valhalla, like I said, played like 10 hours, and I was like, fuck it. Like I
Mhm.
can't do this. And I didn't love the setting. I know Ubisoft's like, we can't win because people were asking for like a Viking one for like a long time, just like the whole samurai or Japan
Mhm.
one. Like the Viking
Yep.
was up there as well. So like they did it, and now people were like, oh, we didn't like this. And it's like,
But you
cool.
made the map like 100
Yeah.
times the scale of Odyssey or whatever. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like it's
Yep.
exaggerating, but it's
It's
just
just
like,
too much. Too much.
yeah.
But so my experience with the franchises, I played most of them, and I really, really like most of them. The
Mhm.
one I had in the lowest on are like the ones that are a buggy mess at launch, like Unity, and I haven't played
Yep.
the like
The Chronicles.
Liberation Chronicles, the Bloodlines, I think is one of them. That's essentially Assassin's Creed 3 on Vita. It's like
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think. Anyway, basically, there's a lot of Assassin's Creed games. We spent way too much time going through our history on this game for this review. So sorry about that, but I feel like that's important. Okay, so getting into like my actual thing. Oh, before I get into it, let's hear your opening thoughts on Mirage, Alec.
Yeah, so Mirage is I've only put about 9 hours into it, but it's kind of for me a tale of almost two games at this point. Like for me, the opening part, which essentially up until you get to or beat the first assassination mission, I just was not feeling it at all. Like I was struggling with, not say I was struggling with the combat, but I was struggling with like the stealth aspect of it. Because for most games, I'm not much of a stealth person. I normally
I
the
am.
go in guns blazing,
Uh-huh.
like
I'm a coward,
mhm,
so I sneak.
mhm. But like I was actually kind of more into the combat on this one because of how easy it was to parry. So you get
Oh,
me
you
into,
you found it easy to parry.
oh
At
yeah.
first I didn't. I thought it was because, in my opinion, when you learn to parry on Roshan or whatever, however you pronounce their name,
Mhm.
I think their window is so different than everyone else's that
Yes.
it threw me off for like the first couple hours of the game because I was like so hooked on that parry thing, and I'm just bad at
Mhm.
games. But it took me a while to get. Eventually, I did get to a spot where I was just standing there, and then I could kata stab, stand there,
Mhm.
kata stab, and so
Yep.
like I eventually got it, but at the top, I did not have it at all. I was just running for my life.
Mhm. Yeah, and also I didn't change any of the accessibility because I think there is a setting where you can make the parry a bit more forgiving if I'm remembering correctly.
I did not look at that. That's on me as a reviewer. I should have looked into the
Mhm.
accessibility settings, but I can't speak to that.
Um, but yeah, I left all that at default, and I had no problem with the parry window. And that's part of the reason why I'm not afraid of getting into combat because it's just like, oh, and I also had the deluxe edition, so because I got it through Ubisoft Plus, and they had the deluxe edition on there, which came with like the it was cool dagger and sword. So like the dagger, it basically if you get a perfect parry, it slows down time, and then
What?
you kill them, and then with the sword that its perk, I guess, is that when you kill somebody when time is slowed, you get health back.
That's really cool.
So
I eventually there's a thing in the game where you can like steal these special items and then turn them in.
mysterious shards,
Yes, the mysterious shards.
yes.
I got a dagger through that method, and
Mhm.
the dagger says every fifth hit heals me. So as
Oh,
long as I'm just wailing
nice.
on people, every fifth hit will do me a little bit of help.
Mm.
So, go on.
Um, but yeah, and like it just for that first part of the, I'd say maybe the first 3 4 hours, just wasn't really clicking with me. I wasn't really vibing with it. It just felt kind of clunky. Like even though it was going back to old school, like I thought it would be kind of old school with modern sensibilities, which it does eventually.
Yeah,
But it
it's
just
both.
in those first few hours, it just feels too much like old school in
I
like the
totally
bad way.
agree. I totally agree. Like my first note, which I ended up deleting it because it wasn't true by the end. By the time I finished, I was like, wow, this
Mhm.
feels dated, and I think it feels dated in like the formula and like how clunky it does feel, but it feels dated in like almost a good way too. As the longer you play,
Yeah.
there's like a nostalgic feeling to like the formula and how and like the free running and like the sound
Mhm.
design and like all that stuff. But because I totally agree that it's dated and like clunky in both like a buggy sense and in like a, okay, I can get used to this. I can wrap my head around it kind of a thing.
Yeah. So like because like I thought like once you get to Baghdad, it kind of opened it up, but really like because I was going around and you're just kind of almost stuck in that zone because I was trying to go to somewhere and then it's like area not available. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's when I kind of realized like, oh, I'm still kind of in the tutorial area
Mhm.
essentially.
I never saw anything that said area not available, so I must have just been golden pathing correctly because I never
Mhm.
once saw that like you can't go in there. But Baghdad, just talking about Baghdad fucking rocks. This is a
Mhm.
really cool setting. If you
Yeah.
play like you said, you like part of the reason you play is for like a really cool setting. Do you
Mhm.
think Baghdad fits that bill? Because I do.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it's really cool. It's really
Yeah.
entertaining. It feels like the perfect setting for an Assassin's Creed game. Baghdad rocks. It
Mhm.
like a lot of the side content and like the lore around there is like focused around Baghdad more than like Basim.
Yeah.
And I think that's really really smart. Like it and it sounds like, oh, that's never been done before. Like, because like, duh, they're gonna have side content for that. But it's like heavily catered towards
Mhm.
Baghdad rather than like connecting it to characters.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think that's really really smart. Baghdad rocks. It's a really cool. Like
Mhm.
if we were to rank the settings, I think it would be very high.
Yeah. Um, but I guess like getting back into my thoughts, like after I finished that first assassination mission, you basically get this cutscene where you see this person from like the beginning parts of the game, like the very beginning, and after talking with your master, it's basically like, "Hey, I gotta clear my head. I got something to do before we continue." And then that's literally when the game opens up to you, and you can go wherever, do whatever. And after that moment, that's where things finally started clicking with me. I think part of the reason why things started clicking for me a bit more in the later hours is because you get more tools to help with stealth.
Yep.
Whereas in the beginning, you literally just in that first assassination mission, you just have your throwing knives.
Yep. Yeah, the game is definitely catered more towards stealth, like deliberately. Not in
Yeah.
like a you can't, like you said, pairing is kind of easy, but I feel like the way things are designed, like like it feels not to this degree, but like they take the formula that Arcane uses, where like you can
Yep.
approach this from any fucking angle you want. And again, it's not as good as Arcane because Arcane is like
Yeah.
fucking top notch. But like they definitely take like that kind of approach to the compounds and the locations
Hmm.
and that kind of stuff. So yes, the more tools you unlock, the easier it becomes. And I did like the tools once I eventually unlocked all of them.
Yeah. I don't have them all unlocked. I think I have the throwing knives, obviously, because you get that just from playing through the game. And then I unlock the traps just so I can try and lure some guards away, and then the blow darts.
Mhm. Yeah, I unlocked all of them. The last one I unlocked and I only used once was the noise maker.
Yep.
Because I'm like, I can just cause noise if I need noise. I can just like kill
Exactly.
someone and then run away. So, but yeah.
But yes, it's one of those like if it's unfortunate because it is a bit of a shorter game. Like I've seen on how long to beat. I think it's like you can mainline it in like 12, 13 hours, something like that. I did do a little bit of side content, but not
Yeah.
too much.
Mhm.
So I'd say I'm fairly on pace to probably be around the 14, 15 hour mark would be my
Sure.
guess.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, honestly in the second half of the game that or my playtime, I should say, I'm
Mhm.
absolutely loving it. Like
Yeah.
I'm finding that groove of like, okay, because I unlocked the chain assassination skill.
Sure.
So
Do you
what
wanna
I've
talk about
liked
that?
doing is
Okay, good.
using a blow dart on one. then when the two guys are close together, because then the other guy's just like, hey, what are you doing? And then I go kill the guy that's not asleep, and then I quick stab the guy that's asleep, and then go back to my hiding spot.
Right. Right. I thought, and this was my bad. You said chain assassination, non-assassin's focus. Have you used
Correct.
assassin's focus?
I've used it the one time they give it to you, like the first time they give it to you. I haven't used it since.
Okay, we can get into that later then. But when you pull off a good chain assassination, 'cause I think it goes up to 3 or 4. I think.
I
I
think
think
just 2, I believe.
I think I for sure got to at least 3, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
When you pull that off, you do feel pretty fucking cool.
Exactly. Because it's the skill that basically you have to be able to pull off 2 like quick assassinations back to back.
Mhm.
And then even in that skill, it's basically like if there's nobody close to you, you use a throwing knife and just chuck it at somebody.
Yeah. It was 1, 2, and then I hit R1 because like it slows down and it has the little aiming reticle, and that's when you just
Yep.
chuck your knife at him and you
Yep.
kill him. And then you eventually get the perk where you can walk up to him, get your knife back.
Yep.
Without
I just got that with my last play
Thank
session.
you. I like that a lot. So,
But yeah, enjoying it so far. Looking forward to finishing up before the Spider-Man 2 comes out. So
yeah. You like we said before, it kind of feels dated. It feels dated, but right. Like
exactly.
again, getting into it, you're like, oof, this is rough because it is dated. Like that's
Yeah.
the whole idea of the game. You're like, oof, this is like it takes like I want to say like 2 to 3 hours, which is way better than the whole play 15 hours of the sprawling RPG and then you start or whatever. But
Exactly.
I do think it takes 2 to 3 hours to like understand the mechanics.
Exactly. And that's
to the nth degree. Anyway, go ahead.
And that's my issue with it is like for being a shorter game, you're talking, 15 to 20 hours essentially. I mean, that's like a third of your game, what I mean? Or a quarter to third of your game. That's like it's telling you to like you finally get to where you need to be to like kind of understanding.
Yeah. Because well, for me personally, like I think I caught on faster, but I'm also just a weeb when it comes to Assassin's Creed. Like I eventually settled in, and I was like, "Oof, this feels right." Like this is something that I've been wanting. This was their vision. I think they nailed their vision, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I eventually got to that point too, but it just I was for being a shorter game, I was expecting that to be within the first hour or 2, not into hour 3 and 4.
The one, and it's gonna be different for different players, of course, but I think the one caveat for that is they are making a game that is older. So like the normal time you want it to be, I would add just a little bit more time. Does that make sense? Because like their vision is to be an older, because people want this is what they want. So I think part of that is like kind of like what we wanted is kind of like
for sure
the reason for some of that. I don't want to defend it because I'm not giving this game a 10 out of 10 or anything, but I don't know if I even mentioned I am the lead reviewer. I will get into the rest of my thoughts. Are you done, Alec, with your opening thoughts? Okay. So I am the lead reviewer. I put a little over 18 hours into this game. I played on PS5. And before I get into the bulk of my thoughts,
I played on PC.
By the way, important to know. Before I get into the bulk of my thoughts, I do want to pimp our stuff because we are shared screens. Hi, hello. If you like this rambling about Assassin's Creed more than the actual fucking game at this point, hi. Subscribe, like, all that fun stuff. Share it stuff. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram sometimes. Mostly just TikTok and YouTube. So what other content do we have on the pipeline, Alec? Because I know we've kind of been lacking a bit lately.
Let's see. Obviously got Shared Screens podcast, got a whole playlist of that. If you go to our YouTube page, we actually have a playlist of our best of shared screens where we've all picked some of our favorite content that we've done. So you can check that out. And then I guess as the time this is uploading, we've got a new podcast that's premiering, our Pokemon podcast.
Yeah. I didn't know if I could say that yet. That's why I was like, Alec will know. So here it is.
I mean, it's going up to the next day.
Okay.
So it's like...
Fair enough. Close enough.
Okay. So yeah, look forward to that. We got some Pokemon content where the main crux of that show, at least at the beginning, is going to be figuring out the perfect our dream Pokemon game. So we're going through. It's Jordan as the host, myself, Austin, and Chris, and the 4 of us are going to be talking about our dream Pokemon games, and then eventually we're going to be bringing guests on to talk about theirs, and then maybe towards the end we might be doing a poll to figure out
who's right.
Exactly finding out who's right, figure out what the actual perfect Pokemon game is going to be.
Yeah, I do want to add at the top that Jordan went first. He fucking nailed it. He has like the most thorough. Like he's been thinking about this for 10 years.
Yeah, and it's going to make the rest of us look bad.
100%. So what I will say, if you like this concept and you if you like this concept, one, show out, view it, or give it a view. Like that would be like, we really appreciate that. Like it, share it. But if you're only going to watch one of them, watch this one, because Jordan put a lot of work into this, and it's
Yes.
something that he's really passionate about. So just give it a
Like,
view, man.
he legitimately made a map.
Yeah, this guy
of
went
the
so far.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So, like I said, PS5, a little over 18 hours, and that is doing a decent amount of side content. I did do a lot. Anytime I see the eagle or the hawk, whatever you want to call it, I'm like, I got to go to that point. I got to synchronize. Like
Yep, I'm
that's a
the
must
same.
for me.
Yep.
I did a lot of the other side content where it's like, this is like a tale of Baghdad or whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
Tales of Baghdad. I've
Yep,
only found one of those so far,
I did a
but I
few of
did that one.
those. I did a lot of the collecting, the thing you brought up. I don't remember what it's called
Mysterious
again.
Shards.
Mysterious
I
shards.
did
There's a
that to because I saw how cool the outfit is for like the 5 ones,
yeah.
and I got that, and oh, it looks so cool.
You eventually
The
unlock the like essentially Ezio's white assassin suit. But I don't
Oh,
remember how, but you
nice.
eventually unlock it. I think it's because like you got the rank master because you rank up as you go up,
Gotcha. Yep.
as you progress. Anyway, and I put that one on because duh, and it's really
Yeah.
good.
I said the ability with the one that you get with the mysterious shards is like if you do an air assassination, you basically get like a shockwave that emits when you land,
Oh,
and
that's
it
really
like
cool.
stuns people. So it's
The
cool.
one I'm talking about is an outfit that you put on over,
Yep.
so you can use that and then so you could have that and then look like Ezio.
That's
Um,
cool.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. Basically transmog, but they just have it in like its own
Yep.
little tier. Okay, at the top of this, because I think Alec took a peek at my notes and was like, "Hey, I like if you think you're talking about this game." If for those into football, this analogy is going to be a little out there. This game as a whole feels like coming back at half, down 21-0, but you lose 21-20 on an extra point. That's what this game feels like because there's so much of this game that takes a little bit to get into. There's so much about this game that is done right eventually, that feels right eventually, and you're just like, man, this is so close, but it's still like the jank from this is a two-parter. The jank from before is right here. Like
Yep.
if you've experienced a bug before in Assassin's Creed game, you're going to experience that pretty much that exact same bug in Mirage. Like that's almost a guarantee. I don't know how they've maintained like using the exact same running animations, the exact same sound design, the exact same fucking like noise you make when you take out your hidden blade, the exact same
Mhm.
noise you take when you hit the like it's all the same shit from 2. And if it's not, it's really really close.
Please make there a setting so I don't have to hold down A for parkour. It's so annoying
Yeah, the amount of times at the top
because I
when you're
want to parkour all
starting,
the time. So just
yeah,
make it a setting to just auto parkour.
like you're gonna have that those items or those times where you were trying to do a parkour thing and then you're just kind of like,
Yep.
shit, it's gonna happen. All right, it's part of the scope of the game. It's gonna happen. So overlook that. Okay, like at the top of the show, I said I really like 2. 2 is like my baby. It's in my top 5. The formula, how
That's
I mentioned
top
this
5 games
formula
of all time, or
for
just top
me,
5? Okay.
for
Just
me,
making
yes.
sure because you just kept saying top 5, so I just wanted to clarify.
Top 5 games of all time that I've ever played or looked at, essentially. Like that one is in my top 5. It's
Yep.
that good. This one feels like a mixture of 1 and 2. Like 1 because of like a similar kind of look and setting and like
Yep.
kind of like a stiff nature a little bit. And then 2 with like the amount of things you can do. Because 2 really opened up, like you said, like it's like the leap from 1 to 2. This feels like that kind of not the leap because we're kind of regressing, but it feels like that kind of scope of 2.
Mhm.
But it feels like if they were to remake 1 and 2, this would be the product, but this product would be a diet version of that. Like it's just a step down of that.
And honestly, that's perfect. That's the perfect
Yes,
description.
and that's both length, that's both quality, that's both like everything you can possibly do with the game, like with its side content. Like it really
Mhm.
is like just not, and that's not me knocking the game. I do think that was their
Right.
vision. I do think they're like, this is what we're doing. We could spend a whole another year making more shit for this and making it polished, but like this is a deliberate shorter game with not a ton of content. And I think
Mhm.
I think they nailed that vision.
Well, because yeah, they originally was gonna be a DLC, and then they kinda scoped it up to be a game, its own separate game.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was
So,
worried going into it that this would feel like DLC.
yep.
And I can say that this game does not feel like DLC.
Yep,
I
I
think
agree.
it I think it there are times where you're like this okay. I'm just going to skip to another point that I had. I called it the villain problem. And by that what I mean is I will not remember a single character out of this game besides Basim and Roshan because they're like the main characters. Like I will not remember a single person I assassinated. If you quizzed me and said like you assassinated a poet, you assassinated a scientist, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like I have no idea who these people are,
Right.
what they had anything to do with. I was just doing the investigations thing, which is a whole nother thing. I like investigations, kind of cool.
I
Like
yeah.
the whole looking at it, and then you have like the web
I
of
think
connections and shit.
part of the reason I like that was because in Odyssey, there's the whole like cult aspect of it that you were trying to figure out who the
Yeah,
leader was,
yeah,
and so this is
right,
very part of those one of the things that they took from the modern games and
yeah.
brought it into the old school.
Just like the what are they called? The people who shoot archers, people who shoot your bird.
Yep.
Like I don't think that was in early games either, but I liked
Mm-mm.
how they use it here.
Yep.
Anyway, the villain problem I want to get to. I don't think any of the characters or targets are all that memorable, but I do think they tried. Like I
Yep.
don't think it was like you just missed. Like you just failed at this. I do
Mhm.
think it was like yeah, you put in the work here. This is what this product is supposed to be. And I think Assassin's Creed to this point has always had this problem. Like I don't think
Yeah.
Mirage's problem with characters is something that's like, whoa, what the hell? I the one thing I will say is like, guys, you have Far Cry, and Far Cry fucking always nails their villains. So
Yep.
I always think it's really weird how Assassin's Creed is just like not getting this even remotely the same treatment. I don't know. It's always been odd
Mhm.
to me. But anyway.
I think it's just
Okay.
because they have such a all the protagonists are a bit more memorable,
I
whereas Far Cry is
honest
kind
to
of the
God,
opposite.
honest to God, I do think it's Ezio's fault. I really truly do. Ezio was such a fucking good character that now like
Mhm.
villain be gone, like main character be gone. It doesn't matter. Like you're never gonna hit that height again.
Mhm.
I talked about the formula. I talked about it being like just the perfect amount of stuff to do, and it's really, really, really just perfect. Honestly, I think the formula was made for me. I've talked about bugs, where like again, if you had a buggy thing with parkour before, it's gonna happen again. If you had a buggy thing with combat, it's gonna happen again. Where like
Mhm.
sometimes you're gonna go to one of my favorite things is like I'm trying to sneak up on someone to hit a button prompt that would be triangle. I don't know what it would be otherwise. Anyway, I accidentally just pickpocketed someone, and I didn't know I was going to pickpocket someone, so I
Mhm.
failed. And I'm just like,
Oh, jeez.
duh.
Yeah, because
And then so
there's
they're like, hey, you tried to steal my shit. I'm like, I didn't even mean to.
because
Yeah.
yeah, if you do that before you get the tutorial, you're like, "What is this little mini game? What am I supposed to do with this?"
Well, and initially I didn't really know there were so many people you could pickpocket.
Oh
You could
yeah.
find like 30 people in like one little area that you can
Yep.
pickpocket. So I wasn't doing it a lot. So the most of the pickpocketing experience at the top are the ones that are really difficult.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it was a thing I wasn't used to, but I feel like I would hit the prompt and it wouldn't start. So then I'd hit it
Yeah.
again. But by the time I'm hitting it again, it's already starting. So now my second input is me trying to steal the damn thing, and I'm just way off. And I'm like, cool, okay, I'll just fuck off
Mhm.
then. So that I did eventually get way better at that to the point where I actually turned a corner and I liked that mechanic. I do like the pickpocketing.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think it works. So yeah.
I'll say real quick, you mentioned
Sure.
bugs. That I didn't have like a ton of bugs. I'll say the one I don't know if it was just me, like where I happened to save because Friday I wasn't feeling the best, so I stopped playing. I
Mm.
literally was in one of those parts where they're like, "Oh, follow this person," and they're in the middle of some dialogue, and I saved the game and quit out. And the next time I booted the game back up, it loaded in. I could hear like all the setting around me, and I just game just hard froze. So
No.
had to do the good old Alt F4, get out of the game, and boot it back up. But it was fine after that.
Oh, okay, cool.
But other than that, I don't think I recall anything crazy that like
Mhm.
took me out of it. Like
Yeah.
there was one part where I was parkouring and like some geometry I should have easily just been able to step over. It like freaked out a bit, so I had to like go back and around.
That happened a lot where it's like the littlest little ledge, and your guy's just like, nope, can't do it.
Mhm.
Can't do it. But
Yeah,
like Boss Sim, just fucking lift your foot like 2 feet, dude.
yeah.
Anyway, um, there were a few times where whether it was a save, there was one save where I had where like I would load, not even save, like I would die and then reload, and I would
Mhm.
reload in right in front of like the entrance where they're like, "Hey, we don't want you here," and then they just start to kill me anyway, and I'm like, "Okay."
Yep.
I literally just loaded in, but there were so many times where I wasn't even in the area that is like a threat area where you can be
Yep.
hunted down. I was just walking by like where you enter, and they're like, "Hey, you shouldn't be here," and I'm like, "What do you mean?" And then they're just chasing me, and I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
cool."
It might be
I
because
literally
of
did nothing.
your notoriety level, possibly.
Nope. Nope.
Oh,
It's because
okay.
I trust me, that happened a few times, and I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." But I would just be walking by, and because it
Hmm.
triggered that I was trying to enter,
Mm,
It was just like, "Hey, you come back here," because it was only the guards at the entrance. Like if I could walk by
gotcha.
other guards, and the notoriety wouldn't ping or anything. So that was great. I've talked about how it feels dated, but very quickly, I felt nostalgic about it.
Mm,
It feels dated in the right way, like I said before. I did not expect to feel nostalgic about this game, but like really early on, I'm like, oh, this just feels right. And then like I'm riding my camel, and I'm like, oh, I remember one now. And like
yep.
it was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Well, I
Um,
did switch out for a horse once I got to the stable.
Never did. I was like, I'm sticking with my camel boy. Um, you also don't need it that much, to be honest. Um,
Nah,
there's a mark all as seen button, which is really nice. If you go into like the little, because there's always like an
the
explanation point where,
codex.
yep, you go into the codex, you just hit boop 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 on all of them, and then they're not there anymore. And I love that. So just a little thing for me.
Hmm.
When I boot up the game and you get a bunch of like little notifications on like essentially achievements or trophies, there's like the UB plus equivalent to that.
Yep.
At first, it fucking popped up every fucking 10 seconds. And I was getting
Oh,
so
jeez.
mad. So mad. And then eventually it really died down. It was only like every like couple hours or something like that.
Yep.
At the top, I was like, this needs to fucking stop because it's really, really bothering. I can't see half the fucking screen. Like, why would you do this? Okay.
Hmm.
I want to get into the gameplay here.
Yeah.
These are all out of order. So we're gonna go on a ride here. We talked about gear and our tools and upgrading those. I really enjoyed one. We talked about how like the tools are really helpful, especially since the game is focused around stealth. It literally the game just tells you, hey, you have enough stuff to upgrade this item.
Yeah.
Go talk to. It literally tells you exactly who to talk to. It tells you exactly what item. Well, it doesn't tell you what item, but it says, hey, you have the right amount of stuff to do it. And if you go in, you can see which one it is.
Yep.
Like you're never like, oh, I could have upgraded this like freaking forever ago, and I just didn't know. Like it just yells at you and says, hey, like you can do that, which is really nice. Um, I talked about this a lot. Oh, I won a 100% this game, and I don't know if you've listened to our content before, listener, but I don't do that. That's not something I do. This game feels like just the right size, like I said before, and it has just the right amount of stuff to do. Like I've said before, like I'm going 100% this game, and I'm gonna enjoy it because it's just perfect. And like
The good old Ubisoft checklist.
the scope and formula of this game is exactly like they nailed that part of the vision, like
Hmm.
without fail. And like I said, the sound design's all the same, and that's what made me get really nostalgic when I kept hearing the same fucking sounds over and over again. And I was like, I'm gonna cry. um, Something I really enjoyed was like I would go into a compound or like a location, and like it says like find the key. So then I use my bird. I look, and the dude has a key. I fail, right? I die or whatever. There's a lot of times where I get found, and I would just stand there. I'd be like, yeah, just kill me. I want to start over. Um, the next time I booted up the game, the key was with a different guard. And I was like, oh,
Oh, that's cool.
I didn't know that could happen. It 110% happened. I only noticed it twice, I think, but like
Mhm.
that's a thing that can happen. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's. I guess while we're kind of on that, almost taking on any or the gameplay of the compounds and all that. Like, I thought it was cool how because I died a couple times in that first assassination attempt or assassination mission. Um, so it was every time I see it, it's like, oh, it's almost in a way kind of like almost a roguelite. Um, because you can do it and basically it gives you a bunch of different ways you could do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
and
Totally
so
agree.
yeah, like there's one where it's like, oh, hey, there's a secret entrance over here that you can get in.
Yeah. I did have issues like locating those things sometimes. Like I'd use
Oh,
my
same.
bird and I'd be
Yep.
like, help me out. And like I'd find like one, but there's definitely like six options. But I'd be
Oh
like, I
yeah.
guess this is the only one I can find, so I guess I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
And like one of them, like sometimes you actually have to like go into the compound to actually find it because there was one that I was trying to do one way. And then that's when I overheard some people arguing. It's like, oh, maybe I can use them.
mhm.
And it's like, I'm already like halfway into this doing this other way.
Uh-huh.
Why couldn't you give me this at the beginning?
And I think that plays direct. I totally agree. I think that plays directly into the investigations because it kind of works the same way, where it's like you
Mhm.
can kind of like do this in any order you want and
Yep.
like come back. Like you
Yeah.
can solve who this person is and then just bounce. You don't have
Yeah.
to kill him yet. You can just kind of come back later. I didn't do that, but you can.
Mhm.
Do you know? Because I noticed that there's the cinematic camera. Were those in Valhalla and all that kind of stuff? Because I didn't play a lot of
Cinematic
Valhalla.
camera.
When you're on your mount or your horse or whatever,
Oh
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
In the
Like
first game, I
basically, like
remember.
because you can follow make your mount follow the road,
Mhm, mhm.
and then basically, yeah, just go to that cinematic camera to
Mhm.
get some cool pictures or whatever.
But yeah, I didn't know if that was in previous AC games because like I kind of
Yep.
fell off there.
I'll
But
say I can't speak to Valhalla just because I
uh,
didn't play that one, but they had. I believe I remember it being in an Odyssey.
yeah, and if it was in Odyssey, then it was probably in Valhalla. But like the first game I remember doing that was Red Dead Redemption 2, I think.
Hmm.
And it's like that's here. That's cool. I like
Yep.
that a lot. I used it whenever I had the opportunity. Never had any issues. I talked about Assassin's Focus. Do you remember this mechanic where you can just kind of like teleport and take out
Yeah.
people?
Yep.
Yeah. There's no narrative reason why he can do
Nope.
this.
It's just
They
you do a
don't really
mission.
try to either.
No,
The
you
one
just
thing
do
I
a
will say,
mission, and it's just like boom. Hey, you have this ability now.
yep, the one thing I will say, because I'm a Fallout weep. If you want to look at this mechanic as VATS, it's the same
Yeah.
fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like in concept, because you don't have to use it, but it will help. And
I
you can't
say that's
go
yeah.
ahead.
That's like I haven't used it. Like I literally only used it that first time that they basically make you use it.
Mhm. I
And
used
yeah.
it probably initially I used it a bunch of times just for the review. I just wanted to see how
Yep.
OP is this thing? How many times
Mhm.
can I spam it? You cannot spam it. You have to like build the bars back up, which I think is really smart.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it's not a one to one with VATS, but like if you view it as that kind of thing, where it's
Yep.
like this is here because
Same
of
kind
a
of mechanic.
yes, this is here because not like we can't make like for VATS, it was like we can't make shooting mechanics that we
Mhm.
like can stand behind. So here's this mechanic to help. It's not the same reason, but it's still like a similar idea to like, hey,
Mhm.
let's just focus on stealth. So if like you're struggling in this one point and you got these bars that are bars, just drop bars. You got these things all filled up. You can just use this. It's fine.
Yep.
Everything will be cool. And I did use it like when you get there's a room where you get to the person you're supposed to assassinate, and there's literally four people, and then and then the one guy.
Mhm.
I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, and I made the last one him, and I'm like that was pretty fucking cool. I
Nice.
didn't care that it kind of
And
took away the thing. I was like, nah,
mhm.
I worked really hard to get here. All right.
Yep. And then there's skills that you can do to I think give you more bars for that.
Yeah, because by the end of the game, I had five. I had
Nice.
five little notches down there. And again, for people say like you're cheating, like initially I just did that for the review because like I feel
Mhm.
like it's my job to understand this mechanic, and
Yep.
I don't think like you don't have to use it at all. You do you have to use it for the mission? I think you do, right?
Like basically when you first unlock it, they make you use it. Yeah.
Yes, but that's it. If you never use it again, I don't think the game would care or tied
It
or be
doesn't.
tied to it at all. So so there that's the gameplay stuff. Do
Did
you
I
have anything
forget
you want to
about it?
add to
Possibly.
that? I do think it's helpful for those who, like you said, it is more focused. Like you agree, it's more focused on stealth.
Oh,
Not that you have to
100%.
do that, but like the way it's more intricate. So if you are struggling with that and you want to be more into the assassin and kind of role play that, then you can just use that and kind of get out of a tough situation.
Yep.
So, in terms of the narrative, like I said, they tie a lot of the stuff to Baghdad, and it's really smart because Baghdad fucking rocks.
Mhm.
I experienced a lot of disconnect in the missions. An example of that is like I'm just gonna read here. Sorry. Normally, while raiding or infiltrating camps, I take out as many guards as possible before I get to like the not the main, maybe not the main dude, but like the main thing at the
Mhm.
end.
Yep.
And one time I did this, and the main person is like, "Hey, follow me," and we can't be spotted by anyone. So like, follow close behind me, but stay out of sight. And I'm following this dude, sneaking out of sight. There's not a fucking single guard anywhere because I killed all of them. So he's like, and I fail. At one point, I fail the mission because he's like, dude, you're too close to me. Stop. So I have to like, I have to like reload,
Oh.
and I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. There's no one here.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
that
that made
happened.
me think about, something that I love in this game where they actually make you walk slower when you're following somebody.
Yeah, I don't like that.
See, that's always what gets me mad, or not mad, but, like,
Oh,
one of those
wait,
pet
wait, wait,
peeves of,
wait.
like, when you're trying.
You're saying the game walks slower for you, right?
Yes, like,
Okay.
when you're following somebody, like, how in most games, like, they put NPCs at the slow walk speed, but you can still walk your normal speed, so you're
Yes.
flying past them. In
Yes.
this game, when you're following somebody, they actually make you walk to their
Yeah,
speed.
that I agree with. I was gonna put that in a note, but it didn't seem as important. But yes, that is something. There was the only reason it was gonna be in my notes is because at one time it didn't work and it drove me nuts.
Mhm.
I'm like fucking Jesus Christ! Like I'm running. At one point I'm like walking and just purposely dodge rolling back because it was like at the perfect speed to be with
Mm,
them. And I was just
gotcha.
staying there and they're talking and I'm dodge rolling. It's so dumb. But yeah. So the disconnect that would happen at times. The beginning of the
Mhm.
story. So you get in and you're like, you're basically just Aladdin.
Yeah,
That was kind of cool.
yeah,
You're getting there and then you're like you're intrigued by these assassins because you kind of know the hidden ones. You kind of know
yep.
what they're up to and you want to join them. That whole thing felt extremely rushed to me. Like I did
Oh,
not
yeah.
like that at all. I was like, this is
You literally
honestly
have
one of the worst
um,
openings to an Assassin's Creed game I think I've ever experienced. But anyway, go on.
you literally have a training montage.
The training montage I dug.
Oh, I mean, I dug it too, but it's just one of those like, really? You couldn't like make this playable for parts of it?
And the only thing that's playable is essentially you taking on Roshan.
Yeah.
But the montage won me over actually as part of my notes.
Mhm.
But the everything up to that point, I was like, this is kind of stupid. I don't like this. It's really, really, really rushed just to get you started. One point I did
Mhm.
like, and I don't remember if they make you do it in 2 or other ones. They may actually make you cut off your fingers. I'm like, that's fucking cool. Because
Right, yeah.
in later iterations, they're like, oh, we took that out. That's like really primitive. Why would we have you have to lose
Mhm.
your fingers? But like this is way back in the day still, so you still have to
Yep.
do that. And they make you cut off your own fingers. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's cool.
They make you press the button to do it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just like what I'm trying to think of some like another I remember them doing that in Heavy Rain, where you had to
Mm,
like cut off your pinky or something. Anyway, I thought it was really odd. This is not a trope, or this is a trope that Assassin's Creed does often, so it's something new. But Roshan and the two main people that follow you
yeah,
from the camp, they're just there. They don't do shit. Like you could have just had them pop up randomly in the story, and it would have been the exact same thing.
yeah.
Like I
They're
don't know
just
why
at
they
the
even had them come along.
bureaus, like,
Yeah,
just kinda had those
but
essentially.
every once in a while, they would like you'd meet them outside for to like get the introduction to a mission. And I'm like, this
Yep.
is I don't know why you even had them involved in this way. It just felt weird to me. I have another note. Basim is no Ezio, cause fucking duh.
Yeah.
But I will say that I was surprised by how much I enjoyed Basim.
Mhm.
I do think because he has like a viewpoint, not a viewpoint. He has like a exudes a more fearful approach to things, and I think that's a nice touch. Because Ezio eventually gets there, but he's not that. Like, at the beginning, he's just a cocky little fuck,
Mhm.
and I like
Yeah.
that a lot. But right from the rip, Basim's kind of a coward. Like he knows what he wants, but he's like, I'm fucking terrified of this, and I
Mhm.
kind of like that. It's just
Yeah.
like it's a nice change of pace for in terms of like a character. They bring back the death cutscenes too, where it's like as soon as
Yeah.
you get your target, I like that they're there. They could not been there, and it would have been the exact same thing. But I just like for like the old
Yep.
kind of like throwback that they're there because they're kind of like they're really short. I think it's
Mhm.
because in the old ones they had the animus kind of style to like put into here, and here they don't have that, so they
Mhm.
kind of have to make it shorter. But anyway, they're there. It's cool. Hit or miss though.
Good old throwback.
Exactly, I totally agree. And now we're getting into the ending. Um, leading up, okay, so like the beginning, hated it. I did not. It was rushed. I didn't like it. Took me a little to get into it. I think like I break this into like 4 chunks. The beginning that's rushed, don't like. The learning the mechanics, don't like. The back half of the game when you're actually like the game actually opens up and you're like this is what I wanted. Fucking fantastic. The
Yep.
ending, fucking fantastic. Like I think it's
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
it's almost split in half, but they're 4 distinct chunks though, if that makes
Gotcha.
sense. But I do like the back 50% of this game way more than the beginning because that's
Yep.
normally how games work. To be
Yeah.
fair, I guess, but yeah,
When
it
you get
takes a
the
bit.
mechanics and things are kinda jiving together and
Yep.
yeah.
Once it opens up, it's really, really cool. The ending's really, really good, really cinematic. It's more cryptic. Like Assassin's Creed endings nowadays are always like this, where it's like we don't really want
That's
to tell you anything, but like it's still good.
See, that's something I've heard with this is that if you basically haven't played Valhalla or haven't finished Valhalla, like, this ending's not gonna mean much to you.
I have not played Valhalla, but I still can understand what they're doing with this ending and like setting things up to
Gotcha.
where this is going and like how because I do vaguely remember Basim in Valhalla because again I played the first like 7 to 10 hours so like I understood who he was at least.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I as in terms of an ending, it has an 8.5 ending because I like
Okay.
out of the because like leading up to that, I was kind of like I don't know how this is gonna end. I don't know if I like it, but the ending sequence and like the actual cut scenes that like follows are really really cool, and I like them a lot. Even not
Okay.
playing much of Valhalla, you might not understand it, but you're like I'm kind of I'm here for this. This is
Mhm.
entertaining. I like this.
Well, there's videos on YouTube that'll explain
Exactly.
it.
And the ending helped me realize that Mirage has a double meaning. Ah!
Ooh.
It's aptly named, I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
So, I think it's worth finishing. Again, it's really short too, so I will leave this review and rambling that I do a lot with my final score of an 8 out of 10. I think Assassin's Creed
Mhm.
Mirage is a great game that is deliberately brought down from a 10 because it can't be, with like how
Yep.
the scope that they set out to achieve, it just couldn't be a 10. But for those who really 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 jive with old school Assassin's Creed games, this is a must play. If you think that you could like the old ones, give it a try, because again, you're, even if you play through the whole thing, you don't like it, you're only out like a maximum of 20 hours, and that's if
Yep.
you do everything. So
And
I think it's a very, very, very solid product. It's just not the upper echelon of Assassin's Creed.
yep. And honestly, too, do if you aren't sure about it, just get Ubisoft Plus for a month for
You,
like $15 rather than putting the 50, $60 into this game.
I did because I want to support them doing this as like a side thing. Like
Yep.
I want to put my money to show them, hey, you can make the sprawling RPGs. That's fine. Just do one of these every 3 to 4 years, and I would be
Yeah.
like, fuck yeah. Or maybe faster, maybe 2 to 3.
You know what? I mean, I do, but it's like 2023 is a crazy gaming year. I need some money.
Yeah, I totally get it. I totally get that. If this came out last year, whew,
Oh yeah.
this would have been really really talked about, I think.
Yep.
But yeah, Assassin's Creed, I give it an 8 out of 10. I think they succeed at their
Yep.
vision. It's just not the upper echelon of this franchise. So that's
Mhm.
what I will leave it with. Do you have any closing thoughts, Alec?
Yeah. No, I mean, you got through most of my thoughts yes, we got through most of my thoughts already, and
It's late.
I can't wait to get through the rest of this game. Like I said, it took a bit to finally get into it, but now that I'm in this kind of, I guess, the back half of this game, or when it's finally opened up,
Mhm.
I'm absolutely loving this game and can't wait to get back to it.
Yeah, it's perfect. If you will feel like a badass playing this game, which is something that is always 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 a given with the AC, but it just feels even more right here. So
But
8 out of 10.
what's
That's from shared screens.
yeah, one last fun. It's like it's just crazy. Like maybe like halfway through my skill trees and got just a few of the tools unlocked, and I'm already at feeling like that.
Yeah, also,
So
there's, like, a total of, like, 20
yeah,
skills, if that. I think
yep,
there's, like, 18 or something like that. Like, I saw that, I'm like, "Fuck yes."
yeah,
So, yeah, yeah. And there's 6 tools total, and you can upgrade your
hmm,
tools, I think, 3 times.
yep,
So, like, the max, and you can upgrade your gear 3 times, like your
yep,
armor set and your weapon, and so it's a lot of
and
the similar systems, just, again, like a diet version of it, which is totally what I want.
the tools is great too because the more you unlock them, the more versatility they have. So like the trap you can actually get to uh dispatch of enemies, and like the throwing knife you can get, like I used in I think it's tier 2, you can add poison to damage to
Yep.
it.
Yep, and you can mix and match those too. Like, I think you can change what the thing is. Like, once you
Yep.
select it, I think you can kind of go through. Like, you're like, ah, I didn't really like the whole poison thing. There's 2 other options that you can go.
Yep.
Like, I maybe you just want more knives, so you can put up to from 4 to 6 or something like that. So,
Yep. I did that one.
yep, yeah, you can play around with that a lot. So even though they give you a lot less than like these sprawling RPGs, I think they give you the right amount, and they give you the right amount
Hmm.
in like a smart, deliberate way. So,
Yep.
yep. Okay, that's our review. Thank you for watching. Check out our other stuff, like that Pokemon podcast that is going up tomorrow, right? Or
As
is
of the
that
time that this is uploading, yes.
cool? Cool. That's how it works. That's how time works. It's really hard. Thanks
Yep.
for watching.